So now we have our library and EndNote is all set up and ready for us to work. Now we have to get the citations into EndNote. So when we go to write our paper, EndNote can format those citations and the bibliography for us. The easiest way to do this is as we do our research. So I'm going to go to Firefox, and I'm going to go to the databases A to Z list, and I'm going to go to PubMed. So I'm going to the P's, and I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page, and there is PubMed. I'm going to search PubMed for weight loss. And we get a lot of results. So this isn't a very good search, but I'm just going to choose the first 5 of these results. Now, of course, if I were doing real research, I'd look at the title and I'd look at other information about them, and I would find out more about them before I just chose them. But to save time, I'm just going to choose the first 5. To choose them, I click in the little box above the number next to the title, and then when I've chosen all of the articles that I want, I come up here and I click on the Send To link. Down at the bottom of the left-hand column, there is Citation Manager, and I click on that, and then I'm going to click on Create File. If you're using Firefox, it has a direct export option, and so it comes up with this little dialog box asking me if I want to open with or save file. If you are on a Mac, the open with will have a browse next to it. You just need to browse to the EndNote program on your computer and choose EndNote. I'm on a Windows computer, so I'm just going to use the ResearchSoft Direct Export Helper. I could, however, change that to EndNote as well. I'm just going to click on OK, and it will go over to EndNote and import those 5 articles, and there they are. Now, Chrome and Microsoft Edge do things slightly differently. It's about the same amount of work, they just do it slightly differently. So for my next search, I'm actually going to go over to Chrome. I do want to stop and say at this point that if you are using the browser Safari or the older Microsoft Explorer, those browsers do not work well with our databases or with EndNote. So if you're having problems and you're using Safari or Explorer, just try using a different browser, and that may solve all of your problems. On the library's web page, I'm just going to use our quick search. I'm going to click on the Find Books and Articles, and I'm going to type in weight loss, and I'm going to hit Enter. Again, if I were really doing research, I'd take some time and look at my results and decide what I want to use. In this case, there's no little box next to the number. There's a push pin over on the right. I'm going to click on the first 4 of these. So I have a reference entry, and I have an article, and I have a book, and I have another book. So I can go over to the right and click on this little push pin, or if I go way up to the top, in the top header, there's another push pin. If I click on that, I get the items that I have selected. To do anything with them, I have to select them again. So I'm just going to select this box next to 4 items, and that selects all 4 of my items. Now up here I have this little 3-dot button, and I'm going to click on that, and that gives me the options, what I can do with these articles. I want to send them to EndNote Desk. So I click on that. I'm going to ignore this encoding because you don't need to worry about it. Just click on the download button. Chrome and Microsoft Edge will download a file for you. So here's a file down here. If I click once on that, it imports those 4 references into EndNote. And here is the set of new records. Over on the left here, the imported references changed. When I got the 4 new references, it changed to just showing those 4 from my original 5. I have not lost my original 5. If I go up to all references, that's going to do exactly what it says. It will show me all of the references I have in my library. I've got a small library right now, just 9 items. But if I were to look at my real library, I have about 700 items in that. So this all references can be a very long list. I also have a couple other options here. The recently added, I'm not sure how EndNote defines recently, but it's the last day or two or possibly a week. And it will show me what I have added in whatever it defines as recently. And the unfiled, these are simply records that I have not put into a group. We will talk about groups in our next video. And then the trash is what the trash is everywhere, the things that you want to get rid of. Having that trash category simply gives you another opportunity to say, wait, do I really want to get rid of this or do I want to keep it? So it goes into the trash until you empty the trash. You can always retrieve it from the trash until it's emptied. I'm going to go back to all references for now, and I'll just point out that there is no little paperclip next to any of these articles. I'm also going to scroll over to the right, and I'll just point out that you can see what type of article or what type of item most of these are. So we've got a bunch of journal articles, we've got a couple books, and we have one that is generic. I'm going to click on the generic one right now. I'm actually going to double click on it so that we can see a little bit better what it is. So we have a couple authors, and the authors look a little weird. So if this were my real library, I would actually take some time and go back and look at this article and try and figure out if there is an author whose name is simply Averett with no other authors. I think there's a database problem there with this author. And that does happen. Databases are not perfect. We have a year, we have a title, we have pages. This looks like a really bad record to me. We have keywords about Richard Simmons, but we don't have an article title. We don't have a lot of information here. So since I still have my searches back up, I could go and look at this. And I think this is probably from this search. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And this is the reference that I'm looking at. So if I open this, I can see more information about it. This is my reference entry, and I think that is the problem. EndNote doesn't know how to deal with a reference entry, so it just put it in a generic category. So with this information, I could actually go and fix the record. I know that it's from the Gale Encyclopedia of Fitness, the volume that covers M through Z, because the title of the entry is weight loss. The authors are still a little bit weird to me, and I do think there's a problem in this database with this entry. So if I went to the full text options, I might figure out who the authors are, and I could spend the time fixing this entry. I'm not going to, but it is a good example of how databases can cause problems. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to go back to EndNote. I'm going to go ahead and close this reference and go back to my list. And I am going to choose a number of these records that are from journals. I'm going to highlight them. I'm going to go up to references, and I'm going to go down to find full text, and I'm going to click on find full text. That will open up a category over here called find full text, and it's searching these records. Still searching one of them. It has not found any PDFs. It found a couple of URLs, and it didn't find 4 of them. Here we go. So it didn't find any, so it didn't add any paper clips here. That does not mean that we don't have the full text for any of these. EndNote does have some problems finding the full text, and it's a problem with the way EndNote formats its citations and our journals list formats its citations. They don't always communicate very well. So just know that this is a good first step. In this case, it didn't help us very much. It did find 2 URLs. If I click on that, these articles have a URL that EndNote has added down in the record. This does not always take you to the full text, but often it does. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And we'll see if we get the full text of this article. So here's the article. Let's see if we can download it. There's the PDF. So I'm going to click on the PDF. And it did not download it for me that I can see. I'm going to click on the Find It at SDSU and see if that helps me. It says no full text available, so we don't actually have this. I can request that we get it from another library. I just click on this Request This Item. I'll sign in here with my regular email username and password, and our library will ask other libraries to send us a copy of this article, which we will then give to you. That should all happen electronically, and for articles it takes an average of between 3 and 5 days to get. For now, I'm going to go back to our EndNote library and I'm going to look at this one. We'll try this process again. Again, I'm going to see if I can find where there is a PDF of this article. Here we go. I'll have to agree to a license and then I can download this freely. So I've now downloaded the article. In my EndNote library, I can click on the article that I want to attach this to. I can then click on References and do File Attachments, and I'm going to attach a file. I then find where that article went, and that should have been downloaded to my Downloads folder. Okay, and that document was named 909864. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on Open. And then if I click on another record, it will ask me if I want to save the changes I made to the other one. I say yes, and there's a little paper clip. If I click on this record, there's the PDF. I can click over here. I can actually look at the PDF if I make this part of the screen wider. I can read the PDF. There are annotating tools, so I could highlight it, I can underline, I can mark out text. I can do all of that within EndNote.